Today we're diving into the dark developments following Jenny's kidnapping and the fates of Kuma, Jenny, and Bonnie. The truth behind Jenny's abduction and its far-reaching impacts are truly startling. The story of Kuma and Jenny's relationship and Bronny's growth is a uniquely special part of One Piece. Furthermore, we'll focus on the cruelty of the Celestial Dragons and the rarity of pure love as depicted by Mr. Oda. To all the viewers out there, if you have different opinions or additional insights on this analysis, please share them in the comments. If you agree with the analysis we're about to present, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to the channel. Just a heads up, this video contains spoilers up to episode 1098, so please watch with caution. Let's get started. The shocking twist in episode 1097, where Jenny is abducted by an unknown assailant, leads us into episode 1098, starting with a transmission received by the Revolutionary Army. This message, sent from the nation of Tumi in South Blue, requests reinforcements due to their losing battle in a rebellion. Ivankov, hearing this plea on his ship, responds that he cannot assist as his ship is already overloaded with wounded from the Goa Kingdom. This scene hints that Ivankov might have been in the Goa Kingdom during the same period as the terrible fire incident at Gray Terminal, linking the Revolutionary Army and the Goa Kingdom. It's likely this fire incident was the catalyst for Sabo and Dragon's meeting. This timing suggests that at the point of Jenny's abduction, Luffy and the others had already been born, aligning with the time when Luffy meets Ace and Sabo. It seems both the despicable events of Jenny's kidnapping and the Great Terminal fire happened concurrently, casting a dark shadow over the readers. This fire, orchestrated to hide the kingdom's blemishes from the Celestial Dragons, further implicates the world government in both incidents. Our view of the world government has undoubtedly grown darker, given the many lives sacrificed due to the Celestial Dragons' actions. It initially seemed that Jenny's abduction might have been carried out by the government or the Navy, but shockingly, it appears to have been the Celestial Dragons who may have kidnapped her to take her as a wife using a government ship. Jenny was quite popular in the town of Sorbet Kingdom. Even the world nobles, it seems, were captivated by her charm. We've seen a similar scenario unfold in Sabaudi Archipelago. There, a woman favored by a Celestial Dragon was whimsically proposed to be taken as a wife and brought to the Holy Land as the 13th wife. It's hard to believe that any of the 12 wives genuinely loved that Celestial Dragon. It's possible that they, like Jenny, were forcibly brought there. Considering an incident where a fiancé who protested was shot, it suggests a history of forcefully taking wives. The Celestial Dragons even spoke of discarding the first 5 wives back to the commoners, indicating they might view their wives as mere playthings. And then it was Bronny, in the form of a child, who saved Zoro when he attacked the Celestial Dragon. Looking back now, this scene might have been foreshadowing the secret of Bronny's origins. Let's turn our attentions back to Tumi. When Ivankov declined to send reinforcements to Tumi, Kuma aboard the same ship declared, "I'll go," and rushed to Tumi using the powers of the Paw fruit. Ivankov expressed concern over this decision. It seemed that since Jenny's abduction, Kuma had been engaging in reckless battles, possibly venting his uncontrollable anger towards the government and the Celestial Dragons. Additionally, he may have been channeling his rage born from feelings of powerlessness into these battles. Jenny had proposed marriage to Kuma. However, knowing he was of the Buccaneer tribe, Kuma had declined, not wanting to involve her in his life. He didn't wish for her to share the same fate as his mother. Yet, he ultimately couldn't protect Jenny, who was taken by the Celestial Dragons. This might have left Kuma tormented by a sense of his own powerlessness. Understandably, he could be angry with himself for not marrying Jenny back then, keeping her close and safe. Kuma might have immersed himself in a battle as a way to escape these feelings. It's ironic, isn't it? He refrained from taking her hand, wishing for her happiness. Yet, that very decision failed to lead to her happiness. About 2 years after Jenny's abduction, a sudden communication from her reached the Revolutionary Army. Jenny cheerfully told Kuma and the others that she had returned to the lower world, and because she had fallen ill, she was discarded as no longer needed, considering herself lucky. She was putting on a brave face, trying not to worry everyone. It's clear that the Celestial Dragons completely discarded the concept of human rights. However, being a wife of a Celestial Dragon, one would wonder why she couldn't receive medical treatment under their privileged care. It's likely that to the Celestial Dragons, a wife is no different from a slave. Hence, she received no medical attention. Since Jenny wasn't of Celestial Dragon lineage, she couldn't have been a legitimate wife. Recall that in the Sabaudi archipelago, it was mentioned that the first to fifth wives would be sent back to the commoners. This suggests that Jenny might have been treated merely as a disposable attendant. To the celestial dragons, all humans other than themselves are the same. While Jenny said she was lucky to have returned to the lower world, she also conveyed that this was a farewell message as she wanted to see everyone again but knew she wouldn't be able to. Kuma's determination to see her, despite her desperate pleas, was heart-wrenching. Jenny, in response, told Kuma that she was dying, and although happy with his feelings, she insisted that he must not come to see her. She then asked Dragon and Ivankov to take care of too kind Kuma. This shows that Jenny, even during the 2 years apart, was always thinking of Kuma. Seeing such pure love depicted in one piece, reminiscent of Dressrosa, was indeed a heartwarming moment. As Jenny's communication was about to end, Kuma, declaring that there's only one place Jenny should return to, hurriedly used his paw fruit powers to leave. However, in his haste, Kuma missed Jenny's last words. His urgency and longing were palpable, but it led him to depart without hearing her final message. Right after Kuma left, Jenny mustered her last bit of strength to convey, "I've always loved you." It's quite rare in One Piece for a love story between a man and a woman to be portrayed to this extent. Eiichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece, has stated that he generally does not include romantic elements in the series. He believes that since One Piece is a story about the adventures of Luffy, a boy dreaming of becoming the Pirate King, romance is unnecessary. Therefore, the pure love story of Kuma and Jenny is a rare case. The scene then shifts to the Sorbet Kingdom, where Kuma and Jenny had spent time together after escaping from God Valley. Kuma used his paw fruit powers to travel there. The only place Jenny could have returned to after descending from the Holy Land of Marie-Joie was the church filled with memories she shared with Kuma. Upon reaching the church, Kuma frantically asked the familiar old faces gathered around for Jenny's whereabouts. He eventually found her, but Jenny had already passed away. The elders explained that Jenny's illness caused her skin to turn blue and harden like stone when exposed to natural light. This depiction of a rare disease in the series is reminiscent of Law's amber-lead syndrome, seen earlier in One Piece. While Law was able to perform a surgery on himself and cure his condition, there was no known cure for Jenny's illness. Previously, the only incurable diseases mentioned in the series were those of Dr. Hiraluk, Chopper's mentor and father figure in Drum Kingdom, and Gul D. Roger, the Pirate King. Moreover, the visible physical symptoms of Jenny's disease are quite unique, perhaps the first of its kind since amber-lead syndrome. Yet, despite suffering from such a challenging illness, Jenny managed to cross seas bathed in sunlight to return to the Sorbet Kingdom. All of Jenny's efforts, her brave journey back to the Sorbet Kingdom, were for her newborn child, Bronny. Jenny returned, disregarding her own life, to ensure Bronny's survival. She entrusted Bronny to the care of the townspeople before passing away. Kuma, determined not to let Jenny's sacrificial actions be in vain, decided to raise Bronny as his own child, caring for her in the church alongside the elderly townsfolk. It must have been incredibly painful for Kuma to raise the child of the celestial dragons, whom he despised, yet also the child of the woman he loved. One Piece often features themes of characters raising children who are not their own. Bronny and Kuma's story is another example of this, much like Shanks, Ace, as well as Luffy. Perhaps there is a deeper message or intention from Eiichiro Oda in these recurring themes. As Bronny was taken in by Kuma, she grew up healthy and strong. The scenes where Kuma gets scolded by the elderly for not holding the milk bottle correctly, or when he's advised to put Bronny in an iron cage so she wouldn't get crushed when rolling over, were heartwarming moments. When Bronny drank milk heartily, Kuma saw Jenny's likeness in her and often found himself in tears. He was especially emotional when Bronny called him dad for the first time and took immense joy in her growth, finding happiness in raising her, a stark contrast to the tragedy that befell Jenny. While nurturing Bronny, Kuma also continued his role in the Revolutionary Army, balancing fatherhood with his duties on the battlefield. During these times, his solace was the adorable Bronny left in his care by Jenny. However, this period of warmth didn't last. Tragedy struck again when Bronny, whom Kuma was raising with all his might, developed the same hereditary disease that took Jenny's life. Despite consulting many doctors, no one could identify the cause or nature of her illness, leaving them helpless. Prioritizing Bronny's care, Kuma decided to leave the Revolutionary Army. Dragon, aware of Kuma's situation, encouraged him with the words, "Live without regrets," and pledged to help by consulting doctors worldwide for Bronny's sake. As Jenny's daughter, a former commander of the Revolutionary Army, Bronny was like a daughter to everyone in the group. Thanks to Kuma's efforts, Bronny grew up healthy. She turned out to be a tomboy, much like Jenny, causing Kuma constant worry. When other children teased Bronny about the blue stones on her face, Kuma confronted her, calling them jewels and saying they're just envious because it's beautiful. He also tried to uplift her by asking, "Where would you want to go if we could travel after your illness is cured?" Eventually, Kuma found a doctor who knew about Bronny's condition. Her disease, known as sapphire scales, was a rare condition that caused blue stones to spread across the body under sunlight or moonlight. Despite efforts to shield her from natural light, the disease's progression couldn't be stopped, and she was not expected to live past 10 years old with no known cure. Realizing he had only 5, maybe even fewer years left with his beloved daughter must have been unbearable for Kuma. Losing another loved one to the same disease that took Jenny was a devastating thought. Overhearing Kuma's conversation with the doctor, Bronny was aware of her condition, but Kuma, unable to face the truth, lied to her, saying her illness wouldn't cure until she was 10. But Kuma's nightmare didn't end there. A year later, a major disaster struck the Sorbet Kingdom with the town ablaze, reminiscent of the Great Terminal in the Gold Kingdom. The townspeople rushed to Kuma for help, and that's where episode 1098 concludes. Finally, let's delve into some intriguing aspects of episode 1098. First, we look at Jenny's background. Interestingly, there are hints at a possible tragic future for another character, Hancock. That is, will Hancock be captured by the Celestial Dragons again? Like Jenny, Hancock was enslaved as a child. She was fed the love fruit but was freed from slavery thanks to the heroic efforts of the Fishman Tiger. Hancock also lived a miserable life as a slave. Both Jenny and Hancock share a history of being former slaves who escaped, and they also share a connection to the stones. Hancock through her powers and Jenny through her illness. Moreover, their tendency to propose marriage to a specific man is another striking similarity. These numerous commonalities suggest that Hancock, like Jenny, might again be captured by the Celestial Dragons. Hancock still bears the slave mark, and there are consequences for slaves who escape. Additionally, the episode revealed why Bronny goes by the name Jewelry. The blue stones on her face, a symptom of her sapphire scales disease, were called jewels by Kuma. In English, jewels translates to jewelry. Bonnie, cherishing the stones on her face as praised by her kind father, may have incorporated jewelry into her name as a term of endearment. Additionally, the absence of stones around her right eye suggests that her illness might have been cured by some means, raising questions about how an incurable disease was treated. One possibility is that the world government, having captured Bonnie, might have cured her illness. Why would the world government go to such lengths to cure her? It could be linked to Kuma's involvement with the government. If the government offered Kuma a deal to cure Bonnie's illness in exchange for his cooperation with experiments and joining the 7 warlords of the sea, it's highly plausible that Kuma would agree. While this is speculative, it's a plausible scenario given the complexities and intrigues within the One Piece universe. The world government, aware that Bonnie is Kuma's daughter, would undoubtedly use his knowledge as leverage. From the situations of Bonnie and Jenny, we can also infer possible details about Shanks' origins. Jenny, though a wife of a celestial dragon, wasn't of their lineage and was discarded the moment she fell ill along with her child Bonnie. This suggests that Shanks, who continues to be a pirate and has not become a celestial dragon, might also be a child born between a celestial dragon and a commoner. There are hints that St. Garland, during the God Valley incident, seemed keen on impressing children, implying that Shanks might have half-siblings living as celestial dragons. Alternatively, the Figerland family, known for their deep familial bonds, may play a role in this. In the movie, there were scenes where the 5 elders hesitated to harm Uda, Shanks' daughter. This could imply that Shanks has the privilege of accessing Marie Jewel. There seem to be various kinds of individuals among the celestial dragons. The future paths of Kuma and Bonnie promise more revelations. However, one can only hope that they do not suffer any further pain in their journey ahead. So what are your thoughts on these speculations? That's all for today. This channel posts summaries, explanations, and ranking videos related to One Piece. If you like One Piece, we would be happy if you could support us by subscribing to our channel and commenting. Thank you for watching till the end. See you in the next video.